and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 LGBT recommendations that I have for you guys in honour of Pride Month. We're in the month of June, it's Pride, so I thought this was appropriate. This is the third book recommendations video I've made. I have a playlist on my channel of all of the recommendation videos that I've made if you want to check out some fantasy recommendations or some crime recommendations. And I also have a whole highlight on my Instagram, which is @StuckInABook, about some more LGBT recommendations. So I tried to pick sort of a wide range of different kind of identities and explored in these different books. First book, which I feel like is very underrated, is Pulp by Robin Tully. This is a book centering around 2 lesbian characters, and it's a split perspective. It's also in different time periods. The first woman's called Janet, and she is in 1955, and she's a teenager, and she's kind of discovering people who write about lesbians and discovering her sexuality and discovering, you know, it's just sort of very kind of coming of agey, and also kind of the complications that come with that when it's 1955, and then it, you know, flips back to present day, which follows Abby. She has a senior project, and it's about 1950s lesbian fiction. So basically Janet and Abby are discovering these books at the same time, and there's a lot of parallels between them, and it's really interesting, and I would highly recommend it. It's not really about love, it's really about self-discovery, but there are elements obviously of love in there. Next book we have to talk about, which is I'd say more popular in the YA space, which is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is a graphic novel series. I think there's 3 or 4 out currently. I have only read the first 2, but I fully intend on getting the others. So yeah, it's basically just like a coming of age cute romance between Nick and Charlie, and it's like the art style is really cute. It's just a really like wholesome, nice story, and their graphic novels, the art style is amazing. I love the covers are amazing. I just would highly recommend. Next book we have to talk about, which I talk a lot about on all my platforms, but I feel like this is a book that's really important that not a lot of people know about. So this is The 57 Bus by Dashka Slater. Now this follows 2 people, again it's a split perspective, between Sasha and Richard. Sasha is gender fluid. It really explores gender identity and their struggle with that, and you know, they use they them pronouns, and it really kind of explores that. And also basically what happens is in this book is Richard kind of commits a hate crime against Sasha because of their gender identity, and it kind of goes through the implications of that for Sasha, and also the implications of that for Richard and the criminal justice system, and how, you know, because of his kind of socioeconomic background, he's kind of discriminated against, and it's really interesting, and I would highly recommend. And also I don't read a lot of books about gender identity. It's very interesting. Next book is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This is a really interesting concept. It's sort of like a dystopian book where there's this kind of service called Deathcast, where the day you're going to die, you get a call and someone calls you up and says, hey, you know, you're going to die, and you know the day you're going to die. And then there's this service called Last Friend, which is like an app that you sign up to, and you get paired with someone, and that person also, it's their last day, and so they get to spend their day together and kind of live life to the fullest for their final day. And so Mateo and Rufus get put together, and it is sort of a love story, but also is a lot about death, and again, they both die at the end, and it's really heartbreaking but really interesting at the same time, and I'd highly recommend. Okay, final book is also by Alice Oseman, and it is Radio Silence. It follows Frances, but then her best friend Alid is also sort of really in the book a lot. Well, Alid runs a podcast called Radio Silence, and it's really, really popular. And then Francis kind of joins him on the podcast and helps him come up with ideas and artwork and stuff like that. And the podcast is very similar to Welcome to Night Vale, if you know that. I really like that podcast. So it's kind of weird and quirky. And, you know, Frances, her whole life, you know, she's kind of been perfect. She is head girl. She really wants to go to like these top universities, and she has amazing grades, and it's really about her discovering what she wants to do with her life and kind of making a U-turn on that. And there's also kind of a mystery element to it. I really enjoy it, but Frances is bisexual and Aled is demisexual, I believe. So there's some different representation in here, and it's a really interesting book. Thank you for listening to me ramble about these books that I love for currently 8.5 minutes as I'm filming this, but it will probably be edited down to less. These are all the books I talked about in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to comment down below any of your suggestions. You can follow me on Instagram, which is @stuckinabook. My handle again will be in the description. I also have a podcast. The link to that will be in the description. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and bye!